Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Like I say, I'm a broadcaster. I appreciate good broadcasting. But I came up to Andy Fantuz at the Grey Cup, and I was like, Tuz, you're really good on there. And you know him. He's like, thanks. And I'm like, no. I grabbed him by the arm, and I'm like, no, really good. And then he just brightened up, and I said, well, thanks, Rod. He didn't even want to do interviews here. He hated the media. So it's kind of ironic how things come full circle, huh?
And there's so many people in the sports world that were really good on the field or on the diamond or on the ice that have turned their careers around and done things in the media. And you're right. I got to work really, really close with Andy and will continue to do so in my first year as the host and pregame. And I know you've done that kind of thing on the play-by-play level, but working the pregame, postgame, and halftime with him, as a partner. I mean, and I watched Andy play at Western, right? So I'm very familiar with what he's done on an amateur and professional level. I mean, really, one of the GOAT receivers in all of Canadian college football, and had an unbelievable career with your homeland and the Roughriders, and here with the Tiger Cats as well too, spending 6 years each. So I think he has really developed. I think we haven't even seen the best of Andy yet. I think there's still more to come. It will not surprise me in the least if one day I lose my co-host, and he ends up on TSN. He's that good. Well,
he's one of those guys that can do whatever he puts his mind to. He's a beauty.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Got these people checking in from the West Coast, and I'm like, hey, Connor Bedard's from there. We already know the Pats are going to retire his number. Should they retire it this year? It's a great idea. Do it in the last game of the regular season. And I'm like, why? Why not? Be the first to do something. The kid's playing in a jersey that's retired. It's his own. Why not make history? You going to do it anyways? What do you think?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on a Football Friday. Coming at you live from the Bunker IKS World Headquarters here in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. It's what we call a Football Friday. They've moved my desk, so my items, my props are a little out of order here, but that's okay. We're good now. And we will get to more football later on. Darren Moose DuPont joins me from the Canada Winter Games in PEI. We got a whole lot of topics to get to and not a lot of time here in the Quick Six, Moose. I'm going to jump into them right away. And I have some very fun things to lob into your lap and the audience. So I will just tell you that we have our Director of Scouting, Craig Smith, joining us in Hour 1. Later on in Hour 2, Jim Hopson, Canadian Football Hall of Fame executive, former CFL player, and the president of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League, Kyle McIntyre, is in the house, and he's going to pop by for a visit. That's later on. So can you hit the Quick Six show horn, please? Woo! Still hot. Okay. Here's what happened in the NHL Thursday night, and it rolls into what's going to be my point, too. In Washington, Jakob Silfverberg scored the go-ahead goal early in the third period. John Gibson made 41 saves, and the Anaheim Ducks beat the Caps 4-2. Washington's lost 6 in a row. So hang on to that thought. Caps have lost 6 in a row. In Columbus, Marc-Andre Fleury recorded his 73rd shutout. Minnesota blanked the Blue Jackets 2-0. In Pittsburgh, Connor McDavid scored twice to push his total to a career-best 46 goals. Edmonton embarrassed Sidney Crosby and the Penguins 7-2. In New Jersey, red-hot Dawson Mercer scored his second goal of the game, 2:30 into overtime. New Jersey rallied to beat LA 4-3. In Detroit, Philip Zadina scored the go-ahead goal midway through the second period. Detroit went on to beat the Rangers 4-1. In Tampa, Ilya Lyubushkin, probably my favorite name in the NHL, scored a shorty in overtime at 1:41. Buffalo beat Tampa 6-5. In St. Louis, Elias Pedersen scored 4:45 into overtime. Vancouver rallied past St. Louis 3-2. Did you see Craig Berube after the game, the Blues coach, saying his best players play with no passion and no heart? We might get into that. in Las Vegas, the game that I watched, Alex Pietrangelo scored on a rebound 42 seconds into overtime, and the Golden Knights came back to beat the Calgary Flames 4-3. Jacob Palgier, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Michael Backlund had goals for the Flames. Seattle was the place. Jake DeBrusk scored the tie-breaking goal, 1:38 left in the third. Boston edged Seattle 6-5. In the last game of the night, Michael Granlund and Nino Niederreiter each scored twice to lead Nashville past San Jose 6-2. Those are the leftovers from Thursday night. It dovetails into point two. We can get into the Berube thing, but a friend of mine who's a Capitals fan, a very staunch Washington Capitals fan, Moose, he goes, my team's done. And I'm looking for a secondary team to cheer for in the NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'm like, I said off the top of my head, why not the Golden Knights? Because you know they're going to be in there. And for spits and giggles, why not the Winnipeg Jets? Like, you're a Leaf fan, so you're full on the Leafs train, and that's good. But if your team's out, who would be a good team to pick in the Stanley Cup playoffs to get behind?
I like your picks. I like the Leafs for that sense, too. Teams I don't like, and I wouldn't suggest, is teams that have been there in the last decade. I wouldn't, Boston, they've won. Colorado's won. Tampa Bay's won. So I'm not telling you to choose any of those teams.
Yeah.
Choose a fun story. Choose the Carolina Hurricanes. I know they won in 06, but choose them. Choose Florida. Choose somebody. Edmonton, who hasn't won in a while. That's who I would do. That's who I would recommend.
It'd be an awfully boring world if we all agreed and we all cheered for the same team, so it doesn't shock me that you would pick different teams than me. But I was watching that Calgary-Vegas game last night, and I'm like, hey, it's a loser point. The Flames will take it. And Daryl Sutter continues. Listen, I'd like to hear from the Flames fans watching today in Alberta on TELUS Channel 924. I'm saying Daryl Sutter's coaching for his job. There's a school of thought that could say, well, no, he's just doing whatever it takes to win. Potato, same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so starting Dan Vladar on back-to-back nights. Talk about the cojones it takes to do that. You're playing your backup goalie. You're not supposed to play him on back-to-back nights. That's a no-no in the NHL. Who cares? We're trying to win. You know what I'm saying? I admire that. Is Daryl Sutter coaching for his job or doing whatever it takes to get into the playoffs? Is there a difference between the two?
I think, there's a difference. There's absolutely a difference because coaching, to get into the playoffs, you're going to tweak things in the lineup. You're going to do what you think is right to get the most out of your team. When you're coaching to save your job, you're doing what's right on paper. So when you go into the boardroom at the end for the exit interview or the year-end interview, you're saying, well, no, I put my best guys on the ice, the guys you drafted, the guys you traded for, and they didn't perform. I gave you the best line combos. But if he's coaching to get in, he might tinker things. He might bring somebody up from the minors. He might play a goaltender on back-to-back nights. That's not something you do when you're trying to save your job. You'd flip them, and it's the goaltender's fault. So there's a difference.
I love the discussion, dude. I really do. It's. Can we come up with a term? Who's behind the curtain over there? We can call it spreadsheet coaching. Spreadsheet coaching. And that's an analytics thing. And believe me, I've seen those meetings. I've been around them where the coach goes into the general manager. See? I did what was right. It's exactly what you're saying. So Sutter maybe is not, hey, it's Smitty. Guys, can we take care of our director of scout? There's a coach right there, Smitty. The reception's taken on coffee break, Moose. Anyways, Mark in Edmonton writes in and says, happy Football Friday. Love the RP show. Love the fact you don't talk about the Leafs for an hour. Sorry, DuPont. Fact, last team to win 3 CFL championships in a row, the Double E Edmonton Eskimos. Oh, wait, we also got 5 in a row. Go Elks, go. Always watching. Keep up the awesome work. Peace out. That's Mark in Edmonton watching on TELUS on Game Plus TV. So this is one thing I've learned, Moose, being back here, and I'm going back to Florida tomorrow, but being in the sweatpants capital for the last 3 weeks, everybody's watching. They might not all say they are, but everybody's watching. So thank you, and hope you enjoy. John Ohm is watching in Winnipeg, and he says, go Jets! Come on, Moose, choose the Jets. So we're saying, who is your second NHL team? in the Stanley Cup playoffs if your team's out. I wanted to say the Florida Panthers, but I'm not even 100% sure the Comeback Cats are even going to be in there. So that. Real quick, point 3, Kerry Anderson finished pool play with a perfect 8-0 record at the Scotties after an 11-3 win over Nunavut's Bridget McPhail. Behind Anderson in Pool A is a 4-way tie at 5-3, meaning 2 tiebreakers are being played this morning for playoff spots. Nova Scotia's Christina Black faces Caitlin Law's wildcard 1 team, and Quebec's Laurie St. George takes on BC's Clancy Grandy in the other. The winners will play Manitoba's Jennifer Jones and Ontario's Rachel Homan in sudden death games in the afternoon. Rachel Homan's my secondary curling team. How about that? As soon as Saskatchewan's out, I'm cheering for Rach because she's cool. And she's a hell of a lot nicer in person than you would think after watching her on TV, the Ice Queen. And you know what she said about that? I said, you're nice. I didn't think you were nice. And she goes, if you took the helmet off hockey and football players, they'd look mean too. You just don't see their faces. That's what Rachel Homan said. Point 5, the Toronto Raptors have the day off after a 115-110 win over the New Orleans Pelicans last night in the NBA's return from the All-Star break. Spicy P had 26 points to lead the Raps. The Atlanta Hawks, here come the Hawks, are home tonight to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first game since the coaching change. For those that want to know, because I get these questions all the time, why I don't know, but they're like, what's life like there? Well, I told you last night we went and did a land deal, my brother and I. It was very Yellowstone-ish, and it was very successful, and my brother was very proud of himself, and he should be. But we were sitting in the Milestone Hotel bar. You get it. You got one in Wynyard. And they were planning next year's sportsman's dinner in that town. And this guy by the name of Allie, let's just call him Allie. You'll like this story, Moose. His brother-in-law is Kelly Chase. He goes, next year, this is what tell me if you think this would work. Let's put a sheet of curling ice right down the middle of the hockey ice. And let's bring in like big name guys like Cooey and Gushu and have like a Grand Slam skins game, and we'll fill the stands, and then we'll bring them up and do a hot stove upstairs and sell tickets for it. And I'm like, might work, but I don't think I'm your guy to host that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he said, he goes, my dream hot stove is to have you and Labardius. He called him Luby. And I'm like, yeah, Daryl Lubanicki, the old Blades GM? And he's like, no, the guy in Calgary, Luby. I said, no, that's Peter Labardius. Would you buy a ticket to go watch a Skins game where they pebble the ice down the middle of a hockey ice?
Yes.
You would?
Of course I would. That would be awesome, especially for small town Saskatchewan. But to get you and it's Lou Bow, by the way, to
or
get
Lou.
the two or Lou, but to get the 2 hockey guys in there for the curling event, that actually might make it fun because it would throw a real wrinkle in everything. But that would be fun. It would be different than your traditional hockey banquet every year.
Yeah. Well, I just thought I would float that by you. So that's what life's like here. I was in the middle of a Letterkenny episode last night. It was my life. Yeah, it's been fun. Hey, here's one for you. The point 5. Hamilton Tiger Cats traded quarterback Dane Evans to the BC Lions on Thursday in exchange for a conditional 2024 fourth-round pick. Evans was the Ticats starter in their 2 Grey Cup losses to Winnipeg in 2019 and 2020, whatever the years were, 2021. However, his fate was sealed last month when Hamilton went all in with veteran Bo Levi Mitchell, which brings about today's poll question for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center. Capital has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Who's winning CFL free agency? We had a little bit of a boo-boo here. I see on YouTube the options are what, guys? Sask, Hamilton, Winnipeg, and other? Yeah, and on Twitter I put Sask, Hamilton, Montreal, and other, but it doesn't really mind. Vote for whoever's in that, and if it's other, tell us why you think that is. I gotta spend a minute and debate it. I think I'm gonna say Hamilton, Moose, because who was the biggest fish in the free agent pond? Who was the whale? It was our friend Bo Levi Mitchell, right? I would say the team that signed the biggest name would have won free agency. That's just off the top of my head. But how would you vote in that?
Eugene Lewis was the number 1 free agent for me.
Okay.
Off the board.
So Edmonton.
Yeah. I'd vote Edmonton.
Okay, well that was easy.
Easy.
Hit the easy button. Hey, NLL tonight, I got to say this. I love my NLL, National Lacrosse League. I wish more people did, but it is what it is. For the third straight week, the Saskatchewan Rush are on national television Saturday night. They are home to, who cares who they're playing? I think it's Calgary. And they've got a transgender drag queen performing at halftime. I'll be honest, that's what I'm the most interested in. Because it's going to be on national television. I don't need to tell you here in Redneckville how it's going over, what they're doing. I'm all for it. People asked if I was going. I said, I would love to, but I'm touching down in Florida 5 p.m. Eastern. I won't be able to go, but have fun. My Georgia Swarm, right, Ryan O'Radio? Our Georgia Swarm, which is my new favorite team, they're home to the Albany Firewolves Saturday night. And in the afternoon, if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see they're having a leadership academy hosted by motivational speaker Jeremy Boone. You can go for free as a coach. Take 2 coaches with you. Go to for free in the afternoon at Gas South Arena there in Duluth, Georgia, and then get tickets to the game at night for free. So go to my LinkedIn, look up Rod Pedersen. There's a link there to get your tickets and go. We support Georgia, and we support the National Lacrosse League. And I'll end this Moose, and let you go into whatever you do in PEI. XFL last night, Thursday night kickoff. I know there's a lot of people tuned in today to talk about that. The St. Louis Battlehawks held off the Seattle Sea Dragons 20-18. I didn't watch it. The Oilers were on. The Flames were on. There's a hell of a lot of competition going on in the sports world right now. The XFL has not given me a reason to watch, and I wouldn't have even known where to find it if I wanted to watch. But where's the XFL rating for you right now?
It's not yet.
Yeah.
Although I've seen the social, and I'm happy when I see it, and I do want to watch it, but then it's out of my conscience, right? An hour later, and I don't think about it. So it's going to get there, but I'm still there. It's going to take half a season. Maybe towards the end I'll be watching.
Well, I was all in the first time. I was all in the second time with the XFL. Now's the third time, and that's not to say that I don't think they're going to last. I hope they do. But I had friends coaching in the league. I had players coaching in the league. And maybe it's because I'm 4 years out of pro football. I don't know any of the players. One, Darnell Sankey. That's it. And that wasn't enough to get me to watch the Houston Roughnecks. So the XFL, I don't care about The Rock. Although, did you see his Instagram video of the cop pulling him over, by the way? Did you see that?
Not yet.
It's hilarious. Listen, go look up The Rock's Instagram. It's on his page. Cops pulls him over. Somebody's filming it, which, by the way, I think would get you tasered or shot in America, but whatever. They're filming it. And the guy's like, oh, Mr. Johnson, can I get your license and registration, please? It was real, Darren. And he's like, all right, here you go. And then he goes, oh, warning, The Rock says, got some guns in here. Like this. And the cop broke out laughing. It was hilarious. Only The Rock. I would not, don't try this at home. Because you probably
got guns
would.
in here.
Yeah. So I got some guns
ground.
in here,
Real
registered
quick.
weapons in here. Yeah. Yeah. To quote Roscoe P. Coltrane, you don't even know who that is, do you?
I do.
Yeah, from the Dukes of Hazzard. You would be cuffed and stuffed. Okay, Moose. Have a great weekend.
You two say hi to Smitty and Kyle for me.
All right. Smitty says hi. Or sorry.
All right.
Moose says hi to you. Man.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And by the way, from Ryan O'Radio, he says, Georgia Swarm, yes! Hashtag buzzing. That's our NLL team. Okay, all ball for all when we come back with our Director of Scouting, Craig Smith. It's the RP Show. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Daytime Sports Talk coming at you live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, and iHeartRadio, and your favorite podcast platform. I just want to enjoy the show today. I don't want to get too serious, obviously, with me quoting Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane. But I will update the poll. Last I looked, this is the Twitter results, and guys, don't even worry about YouTube. The poll for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Who won CFL free agency? 41% saying the Hamilton Tiger Cats, 34% saying the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 19% saying other, 6% voting for Montreal. And before we delve headlong into the football, Smitty, our director of scouting is here. Craig Smith, two-time Grey Cup champion, a football guy, but just a wonderful sportsman. You grew up in Winnipeg. The Jets are your team. Yeah. And I see our friends over at Winnipeg Sports Talk yesterday saying the topic of their show is what's wrong with the Jets. Is that a fair question right now?
Yeah, I think it is. You know, like I had mentioned the last time I was on the show, I've been watching a lot of Jet hockey. And, you know, they're so close, and they've improved so much. But there's just something. There's just something about it. And Hustler mentioned something yesterday, a really good diagnosis of what's going on is with regards to they're not scoring. I mean, they've got their guys that can put the puck in the net, but they're not doing it defensively. You know, they've been holding teams down, but there's something. And I'm hoping that they're going to, you know, get something in the trade deadline. If they don't, well, they've done a pretty damn good job this year. But There's so many different games where you just scratch your head, and just go, holy cow. It's like, what the heck? But I love them, and I love watching them.
Well, this is why I said I don't want to get too analytical or deep today. I just want to have fun. And here's my point why.
Yeah.
You worked in pro football for a generation 1-2 championships, and my football guys in the States, we were talking about this, and they said, well, our fans, they want us to win every game. And I said, well, they shouldn't they? It's pro football. And they said, it's not realistic.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Right. And so NHL scouts the other night at the Pats game were saying, the Flames, it's going to take a while. They got a lot of new guys. It's going to take a while. So where are you? Are you a fan of hockey and football, or are you on the personnel side?
On both. That's the thing.
That's tough.
That's the big thing is, once you've done it and you're in on that other side, you can see both sides. And when I watch the shows, your show and Hustler show, and I hear people talk, and I know that, a lot of people, they have no clue because they haven't been there.
Hello.
And it's a difficult situation. It's you don't pull a rabbit out of a hat. I mean, there's things that need to be done. It's not easy to do what they do, exactly. But I'm a fan too, So I get mad, and like you were talking about, do you get mad at your team? And boy, I can swear like the best of them. Kathy, she does it too. She's getting
with the Jets.
We watch the Jets all the time. So
okay, so to the viewers, hey, Stephen in North Dakota writes. He says, "Great to see Smitty. He's very popular." Craig Smith with our viewers. Paul Jefferson, who I believe is in Toronto, says, "Hey, Smitty, hook 'em horns."
Yeah.
Hey, how about them Longhorns?
Yeah, well, they've really got an unbelievable class this year. I mean, Arch Manning coming in, and they've got a running back that's good. They've got a couple offensive tackles, a lineman that are good, and I think going to the SEC is helping, because I think everybody and their dog knows that SEC football is the best in the country, and with them going and Oklahoma going to the SEC, I think that's helping their recruiting class, and it's going to be good. They've had a lot of 2005. I remember I was in Kingsville, Texas, scouting the Cactus Bowl, and I was watching in this motel the national championship game with one of those tube TVs.
Yep.
That was way back in 2005 in Texas. That's the last time. That's when Vince Young made that wonderful run, and Barker was in the same hotel, just a couple doors down. But that's it's been a long time, and they've had some tough times. I was lucky enough to go to a practice. Kathy and I went into a practice. Roderick Wright, you remember Roderick?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got me into a practice, and got when Mac Brown was the coach. So it was a treat for me.
I'm sorry, this was at Texas?
This was right at, well, you've been there.
Yeah.
Right at the stadium. Like, it was right in the stadium.
Darrell K. Royce Stadium.
Yeah, and I'm looking around, and
it's really cool, isn't it?
Oh man, it's unreal.
More compacted and tighter in person than it looks on television.
It really is.
Yeah.
It is.
So, Ted, who's back in Red Deer after vacationing in Arizona, says Smitty's rocking the Longhorn hat. Who does he think is winning CFL free agency?
Well, I think Hamilton, like you said, I think Hamilton's done a great job. They got Figueroa. They've bolstered that receiving core with you got to use my bike. Like, if Duke comes back and
Duke Williams,
if he's going to be the way he was before, obviously here he had some difficulty, he had some problems. There was some things, getting a penalty when he's in street clothes and all that kind of stuff. He was nowhere near the player that he was in Edmonton. Then he went down to Buffalo, and he stuck around a bit there, and then all of a sudden he come back, and you're thinking, holy cow, what a signing for Saskatchewan. Didn't work out. So is he gonna come back? I thought he was a little heavy. I could have been wrong, but I thought he's a little heavy.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, he is. But he was dominating. He was one of those. Oh my God, this guy's something, and he deserved a shot down in Buffalo. But they got him, Tim White. They got Tim White back,
the running back.
Receiver.
A receiver.
The receiver, yeah. And Casey Sales. That's a guy that the Bombers lost. But they've also, didn't they get Butler too? Did they get? I'm trying to think of if they've got Chris Edwards.
Yes.
Which is a darn good. Yeah, James Butler. Now to me that's a big loss for BC. That's a 1,000-yard rusher. He runs
That's
hard.
the back that BC lost.
Yeah.
I was thinking of White. Yeah. So you're declaring Hamilton. I'm declaring Hamilton, and we'll come back around on that. But you got 24 hours to vote on that. A big question I have for you is the XFL. I was saying off the start, I got a lot of questions for you on that. Obviously, you love it because it's football.
It's football. I'm not into it. I'd be way into it if I was involved, if I was in the personnel department, because I'd be watching players and stuff like that.
Be your job.
When first XFL came around, that was my first year in player personnel, and Adam sent me down. That was my first job.
Adam
Rita sent me down. That was my first job going down there and attending training camps in Florida. And it was, like just watching players. And Cal was I think he might have been a coach down there, Cal Murphy. And so obviously was right into it. And I was down there for a couple of weeks in Florida, and so I was right into it. But right now, like I watched a little bit of it on. Hey, football's football. Like to me, it's solid football. Blocking and time. What different? They did have 5 weeks though to get ready, but it's difficult, right? It's difficult to start. And then offensively, and put things together a little easier defensively, but still, there's so many different things, the systems that they have to learn. So I saw some pretty nice plays. Made some nice plays, and there's some.
So you are watching it
a little bit. I missed last night, but there was curling. I love curling. I curled like 5 times a week sometimes when I was in Manitoba, way back before we moved to BC. And I love that, and I love women's curling. I think that it's so much fun to watch and so competitive, and these girls are just incredible. I know that there's people that said that curling's not a sport. Well, try to sweep front end for 8 or 10 ends, and those guys are in shape.
I guess I'm exactly like you in that I had friends in the league and the XFL. Now with curling, and I talked about NLL off the top of the show, there's a lot going on. COVID is behind us, right? And these leagues really got to work to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder if the XFL's doing that.
Well, it goes back to the USFL, XFL. Those leagues are not the NFL. They're not college football. And those are the kings. And spring leagues have always had trouble. The one thing, these two leagues right now are giving guys opportunities to show what they can do. And it's a difficult thing. Even if you get them into places that don't have the pros, they have colleges. And, college football is down there is just incredible.
Oh.
You think about the alumni and they come back for homecoming, and it's just amazing. Just do that. I went down to the University of North Dakota homecoming many years ago, and in the bar, it's a place called Frenchie's. To go to the washroom, it took like 15 minutes because it was just jam-packed because homecoming, because they all came back to their university where they went to school. I wish that we had that more in Canada, but we don't. But, it's a difficult thing for those leagues to get something going. Obviously.
And what would it take?
That's a good question, because I don't know if it.
No, not to get popular. What would it take to make money? Like, do they need to fill the stadiums or get a rich TV contract?
Well, the contract, obviously.
Yeah.
Because you take a look at even the CFL contract, that pays for a lot. And remember when they lost Carling O'Keefe as a sponsor, that messed up everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the TSN contract, although there's talk, possibly it would be nice to get maybe CBC back or something. Get the national championship game on where you don't have to have cable. I mean, it would be nice to do that. It would be so good. But I don't know. It's a difficult nut to crack. That's for sure. Because the combine's coming on. And next week, and I'll be watching that. Stupid player personnel guy. You want to watch these guys, how fast they go, how much they lift, how much they jump, and all that kind of stuff, and then do the drills. I was at the combine in 2008. I was in between jobs, and one of the guys from the Tennessee Titans got me down there, and I sat and I timed every player, and got Chris Johnston at a 4.28. I think it was the fastest guy I ever timed in my career.
So this was NFL Combine.
NFL Combine, yeah, right. It was the Hoosier Dome, or Indianapolis, whatever the dome they called it, and it was a spectacle. I loved it.
That's a made-for-TV event.
Oh, now they're selling tickets. Now they're putting them in the upper deck.
So do you think that's because the American viewers know who the players are because they're coming out of? That's why.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of if you follow college football and you're right into it. I mean, you've seen the guy. Look at what happened last year. Georgia won the national championship, and they have 8 guys that went pretty high in the draft, and then this year they're going to have some. And I mean, so you follow it. You see these guys. Okay, they're draft eligible now. Okay, now see what happens. Let's see how they run and all that kind of stuff. You know, us stupid player personnel guys will look at that time and go, holy cow. It's like that opened up something for Chris Johnston when he ran that 4.28. He flew up the boards because of that speed, and he had a pretty darn good career.
I want to ask you before we break here, and Craig Smith, actually no, maybe we'll take a break because this is going to take longer for you to answer than we have time for because we got to go to a break in a minute. So I'll let you think about it. Just what some of the teams have done across the CFL in this free agency period, and who you expect to take a big jump, because we've heard from Edmonton people today. They love their team. They want to know whether they should be buying season tickets or not. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jim writes in from Balgoni. He says, hello, RP crew. XFL is definitely good ball, but you're right. It needs to give me a reason to be fully invested. Great week of shows. Enjoy the weekend. Thank you, Jim. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. From Stephen in North Dakota, he says, I watch the XFL, etc. for background noise and will perk up for the replay. Now, that counts you as a viewer, though. We'll be right back with a sports update and more with our Director of Scouting, Craig Smith. Right after this, it is a Football Friday on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, today's program, if you can believe, is going exactly the way I wanted. That's rare. We're having a good... Well, maybe Smitty looked at me. I think it's because of you, Smitty. You're keeping us on track here, our director of scouting, Craig Smith. But Kenny Gill is watching in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And he says this weekend, XFL Sunday on ESPN, XFL San Antonio at Orlando, 4 p.m. So this Sunday, you can catch it. So you're welcome, XFL. A sports update before we move on. There are 6 games in the NHL tonight, including the Toronto Maple Leafs at home to the Minnesota Wild. The Leafs are coming off a 6-3 win over the Buffalo Sabres that was powered by a Hattie from newcomer Ryan O'Reilly. How about those Wild, by the way? They're on a 4-game win streak. Winnipeg Jets can jump into first place in the NHL Central Division with a win tonight over the visiting Colorado Avalanche. The Jets trail the Dallas Stars by just 1 point. Elsewhere, Ottawa visits Carolina and Montreal is in Philly. And reports say Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton has hired ex-Broncos head coach Vance Joseph as his defensive coordinator. Former head coaches Rex Ryan and Matt Patricia were in the running for the job. Joseph spent the past 4 seasons as the Arizona Cardinals defensive coordinator. This sports update is brought to you by Landmark Cinemas, in theaters right now, 80 for Brady. It's inspired by the true story of 4 best friends living life to the fullest when they travel and take a wild trip to the 2017 Super Bowl to see their hero Tom Brady play. Starring Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Rita Moreno, and Sally Field, with 7-time Super Bowl champion and producer Tom Brady. In theaters this weekend, Landmark Cinemas, 80 for Brady. All right, Craig Smith is with us, our director of scouting. And I got to say this. You are in this world. I assume you're still talking to the football guys because they're your friends. This job's these guys jumping all over the place. It seems more now than ever. Or has it always been that way?
I think it's always been that way. Were you talking CFL, NFL?
They're all the same.
Yeah. I think it's always like that. And a lot of times what it is guys, they get fired, they get hired somewhere else. They bring that person, people that they're familiar with, the people that they trust, they'll take them along. A lot of people say, "Oh, it's just a retread." Just regenerating guy. They never get new. Well, they do. They'll get the odd new guy, but they're comfortable with guys that they work with, and guys. Brendan got me here because he was comfortable with me, and that type of thing. So that I think it's always like that, and it's it's a pretty competitive deal, all the coaching and. But, I think that's why.
Well, I think the fans just see the names spinning around on this carousel, and because you're my friend, people like you are my friends. What a way to live. You don't know where you're going to be year to year to year. That's traumatic. It's
funny because when I got into it, when I first started, I was coaching Pee Wee football, and I was happy with that. I was helping the kids. I was getting them better, trying to get them on the straight and right path. And then all of a sudden, I went down to the University of Washington and watched some film in the office. And I was sitting there and I was looking and I went, man, this is pretty cool. I wouldn't mind having this. It took a while, but I did get my own office with my own cowboy, which is a remote that's hooked up to the tape machine. But it just developed, and then as time went on, it was just wow. I'm lucky.
As my Florida friends would say, you manifested it.
Yeah, true.
You spoke it into existence.
Yeah.
Regarding spring football and whether or not it'll be successful or not, and I'm talking about spring pro football, not college spring football. Ted in Red Deer writes that he says spring football is dominated by college teams. Colleges have spring camps and a spring game and command all or most of the interest. Darren in Utah says spring football for colleges is a mini fall camp. Not really a big deal outside of the South. From BW in Edmonton says, who carries XFL in Canada? Something to watch when I go home for days off. Well, ABC had it on the weekend. I don't know. TSN must be carrying some of it.
I don't know. I've been seeing it on ABC. That's what I've been seeing. I'm not sure if TSN does, but see, TSN's loaded with curling now.
All day, every day.
I mean, there's three draws, and so for them to pluck in a football game, I think there's not enough time for them to do that on TSN.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been to spring all over the place. I mean, I've been to spring ball a ton in Florida. Some of the, like Florida International, there was hardly anybody in there, but I've been to Miami, the Hurricanes, and seen spring there, and there's people there. University of Washington, Ohio State, all these different places. It's big. Because 30,000 for crying out loud.
For a practice.
For a practice, for a spring game. To see what are we getting, what do we got this year, how are we going to be. So it's
that's
huge.
the college game.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
and I love it. I didn't go to my first game until 1988. Kathy and we moved to Vancouver, and we drove down to Washington. We saw Army and Washington at Husky Stadium. That's my first game. Well, it wasn't my last. I've seen a lot after that, but it's just a spectacle.
It's just CFL fans love their CFL football, but they have no idea where these players are even coming from. And so I asked you to be thinking about who's going to take a step forth in the West Division this year in the CFL coming out of free agency. What do you see?
Well, I think the Bombers are going to be still right up there. I mean, you get Kenny Lawler's back. It's so funny because I was told by a really good source that Bailey was going somewhere else.
Rasheed Bailey, yep.
And then all of a sudden he signed back. And why? Because he wanted to go there, because of the culture, that's where he wanted to. Kenny Lawler took less money to go there because of, it's such a great place. And so they're going to be good. But it'll be sure interesting to see. Maybe BC might take a little dive because, no Nathan Rourke. They still, what an interesting signing, Dane Evans. So now they've got the two quarterbacks. You need two quarterbacks in the league, with injuries. VA's has been hurt, so Dane can fill in, and vice versa. So, they may take a step back, losing Butler. Burnham has retired. One of the better receivers in the league. Edmonton, the three guys that they, Dunbar and of course. The big name receiver that they signed.
There were a few. Eugene Lewis. Obviously, Kyran Moore.
Swerve. I mean, they've really elevated, their offense with regards to those receivers. And, Chris is a defensive guy. That was probably the big thing when he got here. Remember when he got here, you were there. I mean, you did
Chris
all the
Jones.
Games.
He's talking about.
You did all. Sorry,
yep.
You did all those games, and when he his problem was the offense. Some of the quarterbacks that he had, because of injuries to the starter. Now it looks like that kid Taylor is going to be a guy he's got so many tools. He's just got to learn the game. Last year he made mistakes probably because it's only first year, for crying out loud, and you're an American coming up here looking at this at the field with 5 defensive backs, a wider field, so you got to adjust. Think about Johnny Manziel.
Couldn't do it.
If he had patience, he wanted to get here and then out right away. If he had patience, I saw him at the Cotton Bowl down in Jerry's big stadium. He was phenomenal, and I always thought, man, that kid.
First-round NFL talent, Craig.
Oh, he did. I saw him in Cleveland at training camp, and I thought that's he would be unreal in the CFL. Well, he didn't have that mind to be like that. So Cornelius is a guy that I think he's got some skills when he with those weapons. When you have what did I tell? How many times have I said offensive line, and you get the quarterback, you get weapons, you got a chance. And then with Chris Jones and his defense, I don't want to sell, but I would tell Edmonton to get out there and buy some tickets because I think it's going to be very interesting.
There you go. There's the money shot. Listen, Rider fans, hang on because they're asking your opinion on here, and we got to take a break.
Yeah.
So when we come back, we'll wind it up with his thoughts on the green and white. It is a Football Friday, everybody. Hope you're enjoying as much as we are. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rob.
The studio is the bunker, IKS, here in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, the capital of football in Canada. And our director of scouting, Craig Smith, is with us live on Game Plus TV, YouTube, of course, and now WQEE Radio. And John in Winnipeg writes in. He's our Rider fan in Winnipeg. And we're very big on Bell MTS cable out there on Game Plus. And he says, where is it? John, here you go. Is quarterback Trevor Harris the answer long term, or is this a Band-Aid to appease Saskatchewan Roughriders fans?
Well, he's 37 years old, so it's not going to be how long can he play, how long can he go. But they needed that. They needed a quarterback. I mean, Cody, it sounded like he was done, and so they needed that. They signed the guy. You know, everybody's seen. You remember that game in Ottawa, and I think he went 25 for 25 in a row or something like that. I mean, the kid.
He's a very good quarterback.
He understands the Canadian game, and he can make plays. He can, you know, obviously he's made some mistakes, but who hasn't? But that, again, they got a quarterback now, right? They've got a quarterback that can win games, and that's critical. So now, offensive line, you know, that Blake signing. Now Blake played tackle in the Grey Cup, so can he do that here?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to cut you off, but this is our last segment with you, and you just jogged my mind. The Grey Cup here, McLeod Bethel Thompson leaving the Toronto Argonauts and the Canadian Football League to go to the USFL. How big of a threat, as a personnel guy, how big of a threat is this to the CFL, these other leagues?
Well, it's a threat. There's no doubt about it. I mean, think about how many teams that there are in the XFL and USFL, and the rosters. There's a lot of guys, and they'll want to try that instead of coming up to Canada. They'll want to do that and play in their home country. They don't have to go with regards to a passport and all that kind of stuff. So it is a threat. There's no doubt about it. But it, you know, again, like I had said the last time, now it's player personnel time. You gotta work. You know, you gotta go and find the players, and you can. I told you before. You know, we found Barron Simpson when there was so many different leagues. There was 3 with the good Arena League, the Arena 1. So yeah, it is a threat. There's no doubt about it. But you know, the other thing is now that provides an opportunity for the CFL's player personnel to look at all these guys. There's an area where they go, okay, let's go. We can see all these guys, and I'm sure they're getting the tapes. They're viewing all the different things. So it gives them an opportunity, because this is a spring league. So you know they can come back and play, and guys have done that.
So on the flip side, is this a huge gamble for Toronto to go into the season with Chad Kelly?
Well, I think it is.
Because I was going to say, I don't think it is, but you are smarter than me with this.
No. I mean, it's just one of those things where you would feel better to have somebody that has taken quite a few snaps in the league. He showed obviously well in the Grey Cup. Can he do that? He was good down in college football down there too. I mean, he did, but he also did some goofy things, you know, character-wise.
That's the point.
You know,
yes, exactly.
But I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think, you know, he's up here and he's getting older. You know, I mean, he's probably more mature now, and he certainly has skills. And now, okay, what can happen? But still, I mean, boy, if it was my team, I'd be a little leery about just having Chad Kelly.
We only have a little over a minute, but think about the Grey Cup. He comes in for the injured McLeod Bethel Thompson, late fourth quarter. The pressure. It's a championship game. And leads a game-winning touchdown drive.
That's huge. I mean, it was incredible what he did against a pretty darn good defense that, you know, that has won championships before. So, yeah, it certainly was. Got to mention Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan, I think they've helped themselves. Now it's just a matter of, okay, what's going to happen? You know, adding some of those players that they did. I think there's some good additions. They did lose a bunch of receivers, but again, back to the offensive line. Are they going to fix it? Getting Godber, I think, is going to help. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And penalties.
Penalties.
That's a big one.
Penalties and turnovers kill you. You know. So.
Smitty, always good. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
We got the Hall of Famer Jim Hopson coming in hour 2, and the president of the SJHL, Kyle McIntyre. Always enjoy talking a little Junior A after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEU.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Adam Beckman. That is a wonderful bad beat. Adam Beckman, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan kid, former Spokane Chief, has his first NHL goal taken off the board because of an offside review by former Blade Todd McClellan.
That's a bad beat. It is when you have a win in betting right within your grasp, and at the last second, something unforeseen happens and pulls victory right out of your hands.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming at you live on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, streaming on YouTube, and, of course, WQEE The Key. It's what we call Football Friday. We covered everything else in Hour 1 when Darren Moose DuPont joined us from the Canada Winter Games. He was live from PEI. Now, if we can get the full shot, we have El Presidente, the Hall of Famer, Jim Hopson, two-time Grey Cup champion president, former Rough Rider player, a man that, when he speaks, we all listen. Some of us, it takes a little longer, Jimmy, to listen, but we eventually all do.
There you go.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Nice to see you.
Good to be seen.
But yeah, right. Pull that mic right in if you don't mind there.
Sure
so you were just going through this. You and Craig Smith were comparing health battles. I'm so glad that you're both here to talk about that. That's a win.
Yep.
Right there. I guess we'll get this right out of the way first. You're in a cancer battle that you're winning today.
Got my chemo bag on. I get it off this afternoon. I get chemo every 2 weeks, and 3 days of treatment, one in the chair, and then this. But you know, I'm doing well. I'm 35 treatments in, had a couple of surgeries, but my cancer is at a standstill at least. And you know, it's been a couple years, and wasn't a good message I got about stage 4 colon. But here I am. Feeling good, glad to be here, and still feel very blessed. I really do. I feel blessed with my life, and you know, we're doing things that we want to do.
Well, we had this discussion the last time you were here, an inspiration for a lot of people, right?
Well,
battling the same thing, and I know that humbles you to say that, but it's also a flag that you want to carry.
I more and more have had people reach out to me, and I've reached out to them, and yeah, it's just you know, we don't know what our future holds. None of us do, and so I know I've got a battle here, but I've always liked the challenge. So,
Yeah, well,
you know, so we just
yeah.
keep going
Well,
and enjoying life. And so many good friends, so many, my family, like people just been wonderful, huh?
Yeah, well, when you called and told me, I said, if there's anybody that will beat this, it's you. For a variety, you just don't take losing.
No, and
you don't accept it.
I just feel like I'm in a battle here, and you got to do your best. But I never feel sorry for myself. I mean, geez, there's so many people struggling and battling different things, and so you take it as it comes. Huh?
Oh yeah. So right out of the gate, we addressed that. But I'm interested to get your take on the pro football landscape, the Canadian Football League landscape. And again, we read off your resume here at the start. He also went into the Mike Ditka's Gridiron Greats Hall of Fame last year, which of all your accolades, that's got to be right up there. It's certainly one of them.
That was awesome.
In Chicago, right?
Chicago. Mike's failing. He's still sharp, but he's physically failing. But it was really great to see him and Jack Youngblood and Warwick Dunn and guys like that. But another great thrill for me, believe it or not, was going into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. That meant a lot because this is my home, and these are people I know, so that was fun. And but I think they're running out of Hall of Fames. My friends say to me, they got to be getting close. And I said, I think they are.
Well, the wildest thing, we air, as you know, all over the place. And good friend of ours is a D-line coach, Ron Estate. He's in the LSU Tigers Hall of Fame. He's in the Edmonton Eskimo Hall of Fame. He's in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, and he's just a really big deal down there. It's nice that you can compare halls of fame, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, and he's got all those rings.
Yeah,
he is. I loved Ronnie when he was here. He's a great guy, and he's a great coach.
Yeah, well, and I want to keep it positive. I will talk to you in the break about what Debbie and I spoke about, his beautiful wife. But again, XFL, USFL. It's not a coincidence. The second the Super Bowl's over, they're kicking off the XFL. How are you on year-round football and this third attempt at a league?
There seems to be an appetite for year-round football in the United States. It's just so big. The NFL, of course, dominates, but college is huge. It looks like they could be around for a while. They seem to have the money. They're getting good exposure. As Craig said, it's certainly going to be competition for us, but there's so many football players available that we'll still find them, but it'll be harder for quarterbacks, for offensive linemen. Those are going to be the challenges, huh?
Yeah. American or Canadian, don't matter?
Doesn't matter. We're seeing more and more Canadians playing down there now, too, not just in college, but the NFL. So there's competition, but people just love football, and they love it up here. And so we're getting a lot of buzz right now about CFL and the Riders, so that's all good.
I have to interject. My good friend Kevin, the medium's watching in Idri. He's a medium. I don't know. I would assume you're big in the spiritual world. We never talked about it, but Kevin says we often talk about angels with us. Jim actually has angels with him. That doesn't surprise me at all. This show's really evolved, as you know, and you've seen it from the early beginnings.
Yes.
It's grown to bigger cast of characters. Yeah. And Kevin's, you got angels around. So hello, angels. Nice to see you. You probably feel them with you as support every day.
I'm happy to have them, that's for sure.
Beats the opposite. Yeah, I got to say this, and I feel like you folks ask me the questions to give to Jim. That makes my job a whole lot easier. But this is the thing that finds me, I wanted to ask you this. I was driving in here today thinking about it. You spent how long in the education field? 30 years, 35 years?
Yeah, I spent 30 years as
30 years.
Teacher, as a principal, director of ed. Yeah.
And then you get into pro football after having played, by the way. He was a player with the Riders. And then you build this Hall of Fame career as an executive. Did you ever think when you were teaching that you would... Yeah, that's pretty wild.
You know, Rod, I feel blessed because I wasn't a great athlete as a young guy. We didn't have a lot of money for organized sports and so on. But high school football changed my life. Lawrence Schmier, Lenny Legault, Rams, Gord Curry. And, here I find myself on the field with Ronnie Lancaster and George Reed. And I started my education career at the same time. I was teaching in Lumsden, playing. So all these great things. And then my education career was wonderful. Just can't say enough about it. And then I get the writer job, so
as president, not just any job, president.
No, the president of the and of course it wasn't the best of times. We were okay, but financially we were just getting by. And then 4 Grey Cups and, new stadium. And so I look back and I just think, who would have thought? My mom, who just turned 91, we talk about that sometimes about, did we ever see this coming, And no, we didn't. It's been incredible.
There's a message in there somewhere. I'm not sure what it is, but right, just do the right thing, I guess.
I think so, and put yourself in a position to win. Work hard, and I wanted to be an administrator, so I went back and got my master's degree. I started
lifelong learning. And
what are your goals and what is it going to take? And the same with football. If you've got goals in football, then you got to lay a plan out and do it.
Yeah, John in Winnipeg, the aforementioned Rider fan, says 100% Jim is an angel himself, well respected and appreciated. And I'll just say this: I know you well enough. You didn't come in here to talk about yourself, but that Lorne Schmier that ran that Tom Trojans football thing, good friend of mine. And he said, Jim never has changed. That was the 60s, right? Was it 60s?
Yeah, late 60s, and I graduated from high school in 69.
Yeah, so what would you attribute that to? A lot of people change, not always for the better, but he goes, he's the same guy.
Yeah, I think... I don't think I have changed in many ways, but I do think I really thought about being a leader and developed my leadership skills, and it was guys like Lauren and Lenny, and then Gord Curry had such an influence on me and made me a captain in my second year with the Rams and talked to me a lot about leadership. And so I was always thinking about that. And I look back at Lauren, and Lauren's a guy, you love him or you hate him sometimes, because he was a tough coach. And I was talking with Brent McConnell, who's my former brother-in-law and played with the Rams, and we talked about how he shaped us. He pushed us, and he never let us think we were better than the rest of the guys. We might have been, but didn't matter to him. We were a team. So Lauren was very, very important that way, and he was at my induction in the fall, and so I got a chance to see him and some of Jerry Thompson and some of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, so to swing this around to current CFL, we do this interview about once a year, maybe twice a year, and we always talk about the state of the CFL. And I don't know if it's going forwards or going backwards. I don't really know. How do you feel about the state of the CFL today, getting ready for the 2023 season?
Well, I feel better than I did last year. We went through a lot there with the pandemic and everything. Unfortunately, we're back into the Montreal situation. I'm hearing, though, that there are people that are very interested, and the league is stepping in, keeping that going. But, there is a buzz out there about CFL, and I felt pretty good about the Grey Cup last year, although we weren't in it. But we've been up and down so much. You can't underestimate the staying power of the CFL. I think we'll be there. I still struggle with this global, initiative. I know it's getting huge in Germany, but the NFL's there, and are we going to be able to go up against that? But I think we'll carry on, and we had a lot of good things happen last year, so I don't know why we think it's much different than what it's always been for us. Huh?
Well, it's not dying. If COVID can't kill the CFL, nothing can kill the CFL.
That's
if COVID
right.
didn't.
That's right.
But you spend a lot of time in Mexico, and formerly I did too. They know of football down there. They have their own pro league, but because you spend so much time down there, what would you say the state of pro football is in Mexico?
Well, it's interesting. I wasn't there this year for the Rider Day, but I came the week after. But Roger Aldag was there, and they sold out. They had lineups down the blocks, 500-600 people, and of course the Gecko Band and Victor. So you got that Rider brand just carries so well. And we went out to Chasers, Chasers on Friday night, and it was mostly Saskatchewan people, and wearing Rider gear, and the band's wearing Rider gear. So there's definitely an interest. Maybe it's just that Canadian tourist, but
what about local Mexicans playing football? That's what I want.
They're more, because soccer is still football to them, but and they also are huge wrestling fans down there too, as you know. But they kind of follow the CFL. I think there'd be an opportunity for the CFL in a smaller place like Puerto Vallarta, Mexico City, where forget it. But it might be interesting to see what we could do down there because of the number of Americans, Canadians living down there, the Mexicans that have interest. So that might be our smaller market kind of thing, huh?
Phil Kershaw writing in, a man who needs no introduction to you.
Absolutely not.
Former chairman of the CFL Board of Governors and president of teams in both Saskatchewan and Ottawa. Phil says, Jim looks great. Nobody has done more to build rider success on and off the field. A true Hall of Famer. So that's from Phil.
Phil doesn't get enough credit. He really brought the Grey Cup to Saskatchewan, and at a time when things were
1995.
Yeah, and he's played a big role in the CFL, and I really appreciate that. And look what it got us. We had a great Grey Cup again this last year. Huh?
I think of this often. You told me once we were having this discussion, you said, if you don't mind me saying, that the CFL tickets were overpriced. Remember, is that still a thing, do you think?
Well, I've thought about that because, our prices have gone up. There's no doubt, not just tickets, but concessions, merchandise, everything. And yet you look at what they're spending on NHL games in Toronto and Calgary, and you look at, you would know because you're down in Florida too, the NBA, the Blue Jay. So it seems that if the product is good and the excitement is there, people will pay, and they're paying it for concerts and that. So I still want to see families in Saskatchewan being able to take their families to the game, and I think Craig and his staff are trying to find that that sweet spot where they can get the families in and build that base, because that's the future, huh?
William Duncan writes in, I wonder if that's Willie Duncan of the Saskatchewan government. He says, you can't kill the CFL with a stick. The point is, let's stop trying. Let's build it up and have some. Wouldn't it be nice? Well, 2000s, stadiums were full, money was flowing. Hey, those are good old days.
Good old days.
I don't know what it would take to get back to that.
Well, a lot of it's so dependent on the economy, and so I was very blessed. I came in at a time when Saskatchewan was just taking off, and the boom was there, immigration, and we had great support from the government, Brad, and so on. It's been a little tougher, but we're kind of bouncing back. The economy is coming around. Agriculture. And it's funny, talk about CFL. You more than me, being a kid that grew up on the farm, but we always talked about how agriculture's dying and wheat. It's crazy.
It's rocking.
It's rocking like.
That's great.
But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't know about the family. Well, the family farm's not there anymore. It's a business, but it's bigger than ever. Yeah.
And it's the number one industry in the province now.
That's right.
Which feels good.
Yeah.
We'll be back. And again, your questions and comments for Jim Hopson. He's with us for one more segment. We're live on Game Plus Television. The Hall of Fame president of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but he's in a lot of halls of fame, and he's got a lot of answers to your questions. When we return, also on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
Every once in a while, we do have a show that it goes the way that I'd like. And today is that. Our director of scouting, Craig Smith, was with us last hour, two-time Grey Cup champion, worked with BC, Hamilton, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, a little with Ottawa, I believe. And now we have the Hall of Fame president of the Saskatchewan Roughriders with us on this Football Friday. But we've been talking XFL, USFL, a little NFL. Wilf is watching in Steinbach, Manitoba on Game Plus TV, and he says, "Hi, Rod. Great show with Jim Hopson. Once he's done treatments, the Riders need him. I enjoyed Jim's book. I'll never forget it. Running the Riders. I understand you wrote that by hand. Like this, ladies and gentlemen. You wrote a book with a pen. Who does that?"
I just found that it worked for me. I was able to get my thoughts out of my head and onto the paper. But poor Daryl Davis, I'd go to him with a great big stack of foolscap, and he'd transcribe it and do it, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, bestseller, I'm sure. Do you know?
It did, yeah. But it's not a real big number in Saskatchewan. but I was still
5,000.
Yeah, 5,000, and it's still selling. And every once in a while I get a check. And what I really like though is it's a way that I show appreciation when I meet people and do things and give them a book, sign it, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was fun.
Pretty cool. And
yeah, it is.
Brady in Saskatoon writes, and he says, "Hello, Rod. Depending on where Connor Bedard gets drafted, he could have well over 60-plus points in his rookie season." That was a question yesterday, Jim, was how many points we think we'll have next year in the NHL. He says, "Hamilton won the CFL free agency with a big-time upgrade at quarterback with Bo Levi." And he says the Saskatchewan games this week have been a unique experience. Lots of good sports and lots of young talent. All across this land. Provincial winter games, the national winter games. Dougal Cameron in Calgary watching on Game Plus TV. And by the way, Dougal, we'll see you at the Grey Eagle beginning March 13th, our spring residency beginning at Calgary's entertainment destination. But Dougal says, what are your guest thoughts on the Stampeders this upcoming year?
Well, it's been an interesting year because they have been, the most consistently good team over the last 15 years anyway. And that's Huff. That's the guy that has kept that team where it's at. And now with Dave as the GM, Huff's still there as president. It will be different, but I suspect they'll be in the hunt. It was a gutsy move to move on from Bo Levi. That
big time.
This guy's a winner, and you know, and I know people don't necessarily love him here, but if he was playing here, they'd love him. But they made a move, and John has always shown that ability to move on. He even moved on with guys like Dickinson. I mean, that's so the way he is. So they'll be in the hunt. There's no doubt about that. They were pretty quiet in free agency, though. Not a lot of moves, and they signed the Canadian offensive tackle from us, who I didn't think he did much for us this
Jamal
last year.
Campbell.
Yeah, but obviously they feel they needed to fill a hole. But they'll be in the hunt, no doubt.
Rose Henry is watching in Edmonton, and she says, G-Roy Simon, I think, is the reason why the Elks, well, she says asks. I'm putting that down as a Freudian slip, Rose, unless you're meaning to say that. The Esks are getting more offensive tools. Let's talk about G-Roy Simon, Superman. I love that guy.
I do too, and you know, he reaches out to me about once a month.
Yeah?
How you doing? And just touches base, or I touch base. So does Kavis Reed, another Edmonton guy. It's funny the number of guys, you know, from the football days that have stayed in touch. And had a great visit with Macho Harris in the airport the other day, you know, and he stayed here and got a life and so on. But G-Way is a great guy. I think he's underrated as an executive because of that, you know, superstar persona. But I can see him being a GM one day, no doubt about it.
Because not a lot of superstars become management. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, there's Elway in Denver, but, you know, not a lot of the guys either want to or make that transition. They go to coaching, for sure. That's a given. But GM, you know, director of player personnel, not quite so much, it seems. But he's a great guy, and he's doing well. I kind of wonder how he and Jones get along. But
how could they get along?
But it seems to be working.
Two pretty big egos.
Yeah.
Barry, and by the way, we both know them both very well.
Yeah.
Jim and I have been accused of having large egos ourselves, and we get along. Barry, well, you know Barry Alt. He writes in, he says, long-time Taylor Field maintainer, manager.
Yep.
He says, love to know Jim's thoughts on Edmonton's season ticket plan. Looks good here. Family of 4 for under $400 seems very good deal. I'm sure we could find 3,000 to 5,000 seats to use. I don't know if you saw this thing, the promotion they have.
Yep.
I think it's $290.
I think you're right.
For 4 season tickets.
Yeah. But, you know, they've got to do something. It was embarrassing last year. I'm sure they had under 10,000 people.
Guaranteed.
It just was
multiple games.
Just embarrassing. Of course, when you haven't won a game at home in over 1,000 days, but they're going to win this year. I don't predict they're going to be at the top of the heap, but they'll definitely have more victories this year. Jones, whether you like him or you don't like him, he makes teams better. You know, and he's not afraid to make the tough moves, and they'll be better, no doubt about it.
I hope you're enjoying yourself, because I really am. People have said to me, how would Jim Hopson have dealt with Chris Jones if Jim was running the Riders when he was here? And I said, I can tell you, Jim would have called him in and bonked him on the head one more and said, you do that one more time, you're gone. Because I got that bonk on the head a few times. Have you ever thought about what you would do when he was breaking all the rules? And
I think, you know, Chris is a strong individual, and he doesn't worry a lot about what people think about him. He's going to do what he's going to do. But it wasn't a good situation. We were so desperate, and we basically handed him the keys to the farm. And and right from the start, I think he had that freedom. But his record speaks for itself. I would have been challenged, no doubt about it. I don't know if I would have been able to hire Chris, just, you know, personalities and everything else. But he made us better. There's no doubt about that, and he'll do the same there. But how long will he last? We don't. That's the other thing with Chris.
Well, you're supposed to mellow as you get older, and I thought that he was going to mellow in Edmonton. It doesn't look like he's mellowing in Edmonton.
I don't think he's mellowed. I don't think he can, and that's who he is.
Yeah, I love telling Chris Jones stories, man, and I'll never forget we were at a camp in Dodgertown Vero Beach, Florida. And I said to our coaches, Red Fillion, Craig Dickinson, these guys, and I said, how do you keep up with Jones? The man just goes. He's the Energizer Bunny. And Ed Fillion goes, we take shifts. We can't all keep up with him, so we just 8 hours at a time.
I wonder,
working with him.
Because he doesn't sleep.
No.
No, and he's in that office first thing in the night still, But, the great coaches, it seems that's what they are. They live the job. They sleep in the office, and, it's a heck of a sacrifice, but it's what they choose.
And they win.
And they win.
Yeah. From Rodney, watching, writes in, and he says, CFL expansion needs to have vetted ownership and a 5-year lock-in. Sacramento, Portland, Detroit, and another in Canada. Do you think expansion would help this league's future?
Well, I still would like to see us take a real run at the Maritimes. There's potential there. We tried the U.S., didn't work out too well. And with everything going on now with the USFL and XFL, and it's going to be a tough market to crack down there. And if we can get to that 10th team, that would be great. The other opportunity could be a place like Quebec City, that whole area. But it was nice to see us at a stable 9, but of course we're the CFL, so stable is not
defined
really part of our vocabulary.
Yeah. Clint. Our good friend Clint Bubba O'Neill's watching in Hamilton from CHCH Television, and he says today's poll question's a slam dunk for Hamilton, who signed the best available quarterback with Bo Levi, running back James Butler, top offensive lineman Joel Figueroa, wide receiver Tim White, and Duke Williams. That is the poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Might as well throw it up on the screen. You see Clint's picture right there. Capital Auto Mall has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Who's winning CFL free agency? And I believe on YouTube the options are what, guys? Sask, Hamilton, Winnipeg, or other. I put it on Twitter, Sask, Hamilton, Montreal, or other, because my guy Cody Fajardo is there in Montreal. But I actually voted for Hamilton. And I should ask you about the quick rise and fall of Cody Fajardo in Saskatchewan.
Really something.
What a case study.
It is because, a few years ago when he first came, he owned the province, and he played great, and the team was very good. But the wheels came off last year. The injury, the whole year in many ways was a disaster with lack of discipline, Cody's injury. COVID, the flu game, and it just seemed like nothing went the way it should have gone. I think he just put too much pressure on himself. And he was a tough guy. Our O-line took a lot of heat, and they should, but Cody's tough to block for. I mean, is he going back? Is he coming forward? Is he spinning around looking at the clock? And so it was unfortunate what happened. I hope it works out for him in Montreal. I found it interesting. He's with Moss again.
Jason Moss, yeah.
But I'm sure he'll battle and he'll come back.
I think he has the key components of being a great leader, and he has the tools because we've seen it. But when he came out at the start of last season and said, "Put it all on me, put the pressure on me," I thought, what a noble thing to say. Trouble is, they will, right? And nobody backed him. And the reason I've got a point here, Ken Miller, whom you love dearly, the Hall of Fame head coach of the Riders, said the same thing. And he said to me once, "I'll always take the bullet." And I said, "Kenny, great, but one day there's going to be nothing left of you to hit." It's not much different than what Fajardo did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I admired what Cody did, but they just let him take all the bullets.
Yeah.
And that's the problem I had with that.
And, looking back, if they're going to sit him, the time to sit him was in the middle of the year when he was really hurting, because there was times he shouldn't have been out there, I don't think. Let him get healthy and get back, but the wheels just came off, and I wish him well. But I like the guy we signed. He's a top 3 quarterback, and he's getting long in the tooth, but you look down NFL, hey, when I went to the Riders, Ronnie was in his mid-30s, and he had his best years,
As you get older, sure. Yeah.
So I think, the good thing about him, he's a veteran, and he gets rid of the ball quickly. He makes good reads, and so I think he'll be good. And he's got his coach from Montreal with him too, which I think is pretty nice.
Hey, I know you're noticing the national scope of which our audience is coming in. From BC, Rob Scott writing in. He says it's definitely not BC who won free agency. We're still in mourning here, but wish Nathan all the best. We have a few minutes in this segment, but let's talk about that. Nathan Rourke going to the National Football League. How did you feel about that?
Well, you got to feel good for the young man and actually Canadian football. He was remarkable. I don't know that I've seen many young quarterbacks come into the league and make that kind of an impression. Canadian American, doesn't matter, Warren Moon. He's special. I hope he gets a chance. You know, he's gone to a team that has a, an incumbent starter, but they looked at a lot of teams, and a lot of teams looked at him, and he's good. And I hear his brother is another
Curtis,
one.
Yeah.
And bigger. So nice. It was nice for Vancouver to the BC Lions to have that experience, and they seem like a team on the rise. They're getting their stuff together, no doubt about it.
Well, I hope, to not move on, just stay on the BC thing for a second. So they lost the biggest key they had last year, Nathan Rourke. Can they start over? Like, where are they starting from this year, coming back from a marketing standpoint? Well, let the football guys worry about the football, but to fill that stadium again.
Well, they were getting excitement. Rick Lawlisher and I are good friends. He recently retired. But they did a lot of good things, and their owner's talking about bringing in a bigger group than last year to kick off the season. So they're willing to spend money, and I think they're on the right track. Their quarterback, he's not Rourke, but Adams played pretty well in Montreal when he had a good team around him. So they're fairly confident with him, but. We need a good franchise out in Vancouver, no doubt about it. Got to have it.
Well, okay, we're going to break. Do you have time for one more segment?
Absolutely.
All right, Jim Hopson with us, the Hall of Fame president, and thank you for all of your comments. I hope you CFL fans are enjoying the discussion because we are. That's what we do on Fridays here. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. BDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's a football Friday. It's the dead of winter, and I hope you're enjoying our discussion here today. It takes them a while to get warmed up. It's like firing up your buggy in this minus 38, Jim Hopson, but they're warmed up now. They get a lot of questions for you.
Good.
Ted in Red Deer watching says, do you and Jim have any stories about the two retiring writers from the Regina Leader Post, Rob Vanstone and Murray McCormick? We've devolved. This segment will just be a Rider in Saskatchewan thing because we got Jim here. We were just talking about it in the break, so you must have some thoughts.
Well, I became a friend of Rob. But I have to say that he never let that friendship color his thinking about the Riders. He would hold us to account. And I think that was, and we were talking about that. You need that. And yes, he loves the Riders and he's been a lifelong fan, but when he saw things that he didn't think were right, he challenged the Riders. And Murray, of course, Murray's a great guy, and he loved the football beat, but he loved the curling too, But he also liked eating a lot too, so he was sure. But both guys, great guys. I talked to Murray yesterday, off to Mexico next week, and Rob thinks he's got the dream job now, and just very excited. As we were saying, though, it's interesting that he brought him in-house after. There was many times that he was not the most popular guy on the block. Yeah.
With the team. Now he's working for the team.
But that's a good thing. You need that. You need somebody that can hold you accountable.
So that's the answer to that. I will just say this. The other night, I was in the press box at the Pats game, and Murray McCormick, this aforementioned writer, was there covering the Pats. I said, Murray, the puck is the little black thing that they're chasing around out there. There's going to be nobody left. That's the one thing with our industry and the media. Who knows where this is going? We're not sitting here going same old, talking about the same stuff every day. There's going to be nothing left. I don't know where it's going.
Well, one of my favorite things to do for many years was getting that Saturday paper and reading it Saturday and Sunday. And the sports coverage the Leader Post had was second to none in Canada.
As good as there was, I would say, North America.
And local. And so now when you get this little, like a flyer, you know that it's not going to be the same, that's for sure.
Rob Scott, the Lions fan, writes and he says, does G. Roy Simon have any aspirations to move into coaching? You could write him on Twitter yourself. He might answer you, but we both know G. Roy pretty well. He wants to be a GM.
That's right.
He doesn't want to coach.
No.
Yeah. Rob goes on to say, will the global watermelon shortage impact sales at Mosaic this season? I thank you for bringing that up because I wanted to ask you. You came in not overnight, but almost overnight. The stadium was full. The team was winning. It was great. Did you know marketing?
No. Other than what I'd done in education to get our message out. But I brought in the guy that did know, and that was Steve Mazurek. And Maz was over to visit me the other day, and we had a great visit. But I often think Maz doesn't get enough credit for our success because he was the guy that, set up the good deals and brought in companies, but the merchandise and, so he knew marketing. And we didn't always agree, but I learned to trust him. And but as we said, we came in at a time when the province was just taking off, and the team took off. And winning that Grey Cup in 2007, well, that lit the fire.
Yeah, timing.
It was timing.
Well, winning.
Winning, and we just connected. That team really connected with the province.
Well, do you ever look at these winning dynasties or just winning franchises, NHL, NFL, and just go, can you see what they're doing right, or do you question, what are they doing that works? Or do you just inherently know?
Well, I think, whether you look at the franchises that win, you look at Kansas City, well, the obvious reason, Andy Reid. I mean, the consistency. They just lost their offensive coordinator, but he's been there 10 years. So it's it's culture. It's the culture you build into the organization, whether it's football, hockey, your business, and what kind of a culture. Is it a winning culture? Is it a culture that builds teamwork and celebrates success of all? And I think the good franchises, that's what you see.
And overall treating people well. Let's not forget, Saskatchewan wins a Grey Cup in 2007. A month later, Ken Austin knocks on your door and says, Jim, can we have a word? I have an opportunity to go to my alma mater as offensive coordinator at Ole Miss. That couldn't have been easy for you. And he was, 2 more years left on his contract?
Yeah, he did have that. But, you can't stand, in this business, in football business, or any sports business, you can't stand in the way of guys progressing and going ahead. And while that hurt to see him leave, if he had success down there, and he did have some success and so on, it helps us because, the coaches network look and they say, well, look at what Kent did. And so, and I had confidence, and Eric had confidence, don't worry, I'll get a coach. And he did. And that GM position is so critical, just absolutely critical.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here listening. Sorry, I shouldn't be firing all these questions, but with Kent, how much Ken Austin is what we're talking about, of course. You must be fairly closely following his career. What an interesting guy.
He is. He just got remarried.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Okay.
I've been sworn to not talk about it. Breaking news. Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah.
He's happy.
Well, that's good. I'd heard the stories about Kent before we hired him, and I actually flew down to Toronto to meet with Eric and Kent and Big Fresh Gil.
Eric Tillman he's talking about, and Gil Scott,
and I came away, Eric said, you got to meet this guy, and I did, and I came away very, very impressed. And, we had all those stories and being difficult to work with and wanting more money. And Ryan Whippler, who was with the team a long time, and you know Ryan well, working on the football ops side of things, he said, I couldn't believe he was a dream to work with. And he really was. And right from day one, though, the very first time he talked to the team, he said, we're here to win. That was it. We're here to win. And we did. And then Kenny came in, and unfortunately, we got the 2 Grey Cups, and we did, came up a little short, but the franchise continued to prosper.
Mm-hmm. Any last words before you head to Mexico?
Well, I'm not going down to the 11th. No, I'm happy. We talked a little bit about the teams in free agency. I think the Riders have been solid. I wouldn't give them an A, but I'd give them a B, B+.
I give them B+.
Oh, you would, huh?
Yeah.
I love the quarterback's good. The coaches, we're good at linebacker. Our D-line, I think, is better. Definitely better on the O-line. I really like Philip Blake. I think he's a guy, play anywhere. We got a young center. They'll figure it out, but they still need some receivers, and they're DBs. But you know what? You got to bring in some new. You can't build a team just around free agency. You got to bring in new. Look at Calgary. Look at the team. Look at Montreal and Winnipeg. They find receivers. They find O-linemen. We got to do the same.
Kevin, the medium, says Jim needs to be broadcasting on TSN. He would be a great color guy. Would you like to start a new career at this stage of the game?
Well, why not? Huh?
Why not? Yeah.
And the best color guy ever, I think you would agree, Ronnie Lancaster.
He's good, yeah.
Oh, man, he was a dream, huh?
Good at whatever he did.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Ted in Red Deer, he said, isn't that a comment from a great leader? We didn't always agree, but I learned to trust him, unquote. Great way to end it. Jim, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Always a treat. Thank you.
All right, we're going to totally switch gears and talk to the president of a Junior A league when we come back right in studio. We are live on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Approved.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, it's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the final segment. It's Overtime, proudly brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace. It was the home of our Super Bowl watch party. Now it's your home of the UFC and the National Hockey League. It is Canada, after all, and we've enjoyed a Football Friday. We're going to swing things around to hockey. And before we bring in our next guest, I just want to tell you, NHL tonight, kind of a light night for the NHL. 6 games in all. Florida Panthers home to Buffalo, Sens at Carolina, Montreal at Philly. Game of the night, I think, is Colorado at Winnipeg. In the Dub, God's team, the Regina Pats are at Brandon. Check out WHL.ca for the complete schedule there. Get out to a game. Ontario, the Quebec, and, of course, we love our Junior A. The president of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League is with us, Kyle McIntyre. And I might force you to speak for all of Canadian Junior A. Are you down with that?
Well, I guess so. Do I have a choice?
Yeah, no, you're here now. You're in the chair. What brings you to the football capital here, but the Bermuda Triangle of the NHL? What brings you to town?
Well, as you know, we have a partnership with IKS Media with the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. And so right now we're all getting ready for our playoff coverage. So we're talking about our playoff plans and speculating about potential first-round matchups and what type of coverage we're going to continue to do as a league with IKS.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not even a full year on the job yet.
Not
right?
Not quite.
The Centennial Cup
That'll be a year.
Would mark a year. How's the state of Junior A hockey in this province and across the country?
Outstanding. I would say that we're fully recovered from COVID. The SJHL, we're getting about 651 people per game on average, and we have some smaller market teams that don't typically draw as well. Lots of excitement in the playoffs. I think our number one team overall, North Battleford, with a win tonight, they'll secure first place in the SJHL.
They can clinch.
But 2 to 5 is still a dogfight, and position will change daily based on the records. Probably getting a little closer to who are the 8 teams that are going to qualify for playoffs. Notre Dame goes on a bit of a heater. They might sneak in, but if they lose a couple games, then they're going to be out of the race, and Weyburn and Nipawin will be jockeying for position in 7 and 8.
Mm-hmm. We got some questions coming in, all sports related. Jen, just hang on. It has to do with the National Lacrosse League. I want to address it, but what I love about this show is the ability to talk all sports and have guys like yourself in and give you the profile. You know, I enjoy it. I spent the last 2 weekends in Estevan where they love their Bruins, they love their hockey, and we talked about this year's Centennial Cup in Portage. We like the 10-team format, eh?
You know what? It is a good opportunity for the leagues that don't traditionally qualify for it, and so it's good for them. Hopefully, by exposing them to that competition, they can raise their overall level of play for their leagues. We're always competitive as Saskatchewan. Manitoba is always competitive. Alberta, of course, is very competitive. And then Ontario, where you have 4 leagues, usually the Central League around Ottawa, and the Toronto League is usually fairly dominant as well.
I don't see any reason why you would want to go away from this, and it's year 2 of doing it. So the hockey people watching know this. You would win your province in Junior A, but then you have to play a regional best of 7, Anavet Cup, Doyle Cup. I don't know what they were out in the East. But this way, last year in Estevan, we had Summerside PEI, right? We had the couple teams from Ontario. We had 10 teams in all. I hope you're staying with that.
Well, they are for at least the next couple of years.
Good.
So one of the things that's going on now is that Hockey Canada has actually appointed an official liaison to work with the CJHL. And so that'll be one of their responsibilities, is to go to the Centennial Cup and to evaluate whether it is a format they want to continue with. I would say the only downside would be for a host committee.
It's hard to host, they say.
You need 2 sheets of ice. You need lots of sponsorship. And probably the profit margin for the host is not as high with the 10 teams.
Really?
Yes.
So then you would have to do some convincing of some leagues why this is a good idea.
Yeah, right. because I mean, going into it, you're probably looking at a legacy for your club. I mean, with Estevan last year, I think it was lots of hard work and the whole community got behind it. But I think they had a nice little legacy fund, and they'll be putting some of those funds into place in the summer. One of their legacy items is a new clock for the facility that they can use with their TriCaster. And so I don't think their profit was as high as what they had hoped. But I think that knowing that it's a 10-team format, then obviously you can go out and get some more sponsorship or some more donations or maybe some more corporate citizens online.
Is there a, favorite province right now, or a Centennial Cup favorite? I'm assuming Brooks, because they always are. They're the defending champions. Who's the...
Well, I'll tell you, you don't have to look much further than North Battleford.
Yeah.
They were probably 18 or 19 weeks as number 1 in Canada in terms of the CJHL. But one of the challenges that we would see in our league is that you might build your team one way to win the league, but you might need another type of team to compete at the Centennial Cup.
Which happens in Memorial Cup too.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, in the Memorial Cup, obviously, the teams that come out of the West in particular have the absolute heck beat out of them because it's an absolute grind. You know, I think back to 2018 when the Broncos won. Well, Moose Jaw could have won. Regina could have won. Every game went to a 7-game series. It was a war of attrition. And then when you get to the Memorial Cup, you're so nicked up that you can't compete,
happens.
right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the challenge with the Western League. It'll be similar for our league too, because I think it'll be a battle getting out of our league as well.
Jennifer from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, so I'm in Saskatoon this weekend for hockey, and the team is going to the Rush game Saturday night. This will be my first time. Anything to know before I go? Well, I haven't been there, I don't think, since the ownership change. I don't think a whole lot's changed. I would say go with an open mind. It's a party. Have you been to Rush games?
I have, and it is a party. That's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, it's not about the game, but the game's great too. That's it. Go with an open mind and tell your kids to have an open mind and just have fun and report back here on Monday how much fun it is. But she brings up a good point. NLL tonight, Panther City's at Colorado, Calgary's at Las Vegas. You got an NLL pro team in your province. It's a competitive world to fight for headlines and eyeballs, right?
Absolutely.
How do you go about trying to win that battle or, be noticed?
Well, I think the first thing you got to do is have a good product, right?
Yeah.
And for us, key piece is having more Saskatchewan in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League.
Yes, which you do a great job.
People want to have local content. They want to see local kids. Kids want to see their local role models. Sponsors want to see a local contingency. So if you're playing in Weyburn, they want to see kids from Milestone and Redvers and Carlisle. They want to see those kids on the team, right? And so do the sponsors. So it's important to keep the Saskatchewan in the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League.
Well, I had one of the funnest things I've ever done was broadcasting the SJHL draft a couple years ago, and pick by pick by pick. We went through the whole blinking thing, 7-8 rounds. Saskatoon had like 50% of the players in the whole thing. What are they doing up? That's your hometown.
Yep. Yeah. Saskatoon and Martinsville and Warman right now.
Yeah, the whole area.
It's a factory. Like I look at some of the kids that are 06s in our league this year. So Karsten Cater and Riley Ash and the Evans kid from Kindersley. So a lot of those kids were from that hockey program around Warman, Martinsville. So it's really a hotbed right now in the province.
I love it. Love to hear it. Well, keep doing what you're doing.
Well, hey,
big
thanks for
fan
having us.
here, as you know.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me
thank
on.
Thank you, Kyle. Jen says, I love those Yorkton Terriers. Hey, it's the most exciting time of the year. Hockey playoffs are coming up, and I can't wait. So a big thank you today to Jim Hopson, the Hall of Fame president of the Roughriders, Craig Smith with us, our director of scouting, and of course the SJHL president, Kyle McIntyre, and to all of you, thanks for tuning in. Follow our social media channels, by the way, throughout the weekend for the best clips you missed this week, game previews and all the rest, at The Rod Pedersen Show on Instagram, at Rod Pedersen Show on Twitter and Facebook as well. And we'll see you Monday, noon Eastern, from sunny Florida, here on Game Plus Television and WQEE The Key. Who has more fun than us?
That's hot. Hot tape. Right on.